In March, the Harvard Library published a research guide on how to spot fake news. Titled Fake News, Misinformation, and Propaganda, the research guide lists 916 websites to avoid, the majority of which are conservative-leaning, including pages such as WikiLeaks, Breitbart News, and the Washington Examiner. The list was compiled by one professor out of Merrimack College. At the time, it drew lots of criticism from right-wing news outlets, arguing that it mislabels conservative news sources as illegitimate, denoting their credibility. We visited campus to ask Harvard students and staff if they agreed with their university publishing their own fake news list and where they prefer to get their news from.
What do you consider to be fake news, and how would you say we could best spot it?
Yeah, so fake news, I think people talk about it coming up on Facebook a lot or being circulated on social media. And usually when I try to decipher fake news versus real news, I would say memes a lot, or fake news, things with an entertainment purpose, circulated by entertainment websites, things that don't emphasize a more scholarly approach to the news, I would say usually are less reliable in my opinion.
I guess fake news is probably just news that is not factual, and I think the easiest way to spot it is just like if you see some like ridiculous news story, or even stuff that looks like a little more reasonable, just like checking against multiple sources, stuff like that.
Really clickbaity news.
Yeah.
Any news that's clickbaity, I usually assume is fake.
I think like real credible stuff addresses addresses the fact that it might not be 100% accurate, but the fake stuff won't address anything that exists outside of fake.
Usually I hear about fake news in alt-right circles.
What you think fake news is, and how we can best spot it.
Donald Trump?
Stay categorically.
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Can you stay categorically?
So, where do you get your news from, and what would you consider to be reputable news sources?
Yeah, so most of my news I get on social media. I subscribe to the different news outlets. So I would say a lot of my headlines I get from Politico, which I think is pretty reliable. In terms of more like opinion columns or whatnot, I like Ezra Klein a lot, Robert Reich. They're more liberal, progressive.
So I get my news from like CNN.
The New York Times, BBC, sometimes like The Economist.
I read the New York Times. I really like Al-Jazeera and BBC. I find that a lot of American-based news outlets tend to be more biased.
The New York Times is something that I consider is quite reputable.
I generally get my stuff from political reputable, so the Times, those stuff. But honestly, I try to have an entire spectrum of it, so I'll read, I'll go to Fox News, get some people on the left call fake news in some respects, but The Hill and, like The Atlantic and stuff like that.
I am a big supporter of NPR. I listen to the BBC. I'll get stuff from Al Jazeera. I like to get U.S. news from foreign sources because people have vested interests here.
So I don't like read the news too much. Just feel like when I do see stuff, it's usually something that people have shared on Facebook.
Not knowing that their school had published a guide to fake news, most students disagreed with having colleges publish their own list, arguing that it could lead to a difference of opinion on what could be considered illegitimate.
And what would your opinion be on universities countering this by, say, publishing a list of what they consider to be fake news sites for students to avoid?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that could be good.
I think that'd be a good idea. Or even like if they have like maybe people in the university kind of compile like a kind of like to counteract it, maybe like come up with something and say like, oh, like these stories are false, like don't believe them, this is actually the truth about them.
I would be in favor of it, although it would get into some pretty interesting territory in terms of like, oh, is that just the college's opinion?
I think that's hard for a university to.
Well, I think fake news is really objective, so I don't think that it's necessarily the university's place to say explicitly this is fake and this is not.
I think if you have a database of sites to avoid, I don't think that's necessarily productive. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of the right side of the house as a person that the right side of the house.
Yeah.
I think that could be, like, that sounds good in practice, but I think when it happens in
Could you
That sounds
speak
like
up a little
that
bit
sounds
more,
like a
please?
shitstorm waiting to happen.
Yeah, but why is that, you think?
Well, a lot of like fake news outlets tend to be kind of right aligned, like Fox and stuff like that. And there's a lot of talk already about colleges being not very supportive of the right, like students and stuff like that.
Well, the reason I was asking that is because Harvard actually did publish a list of fake news. So the Harvard library system, they actually published a long list of what they consider to be fake news. I guess, like, what's your opinion on that? I think you're just saying you don't think that's a very smart idea, or?
Well, I think there's nothing that I guess I mean I personally I wouldn't have done that.
I don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that Harvard can be paternalistic and try to tell us what's good and what's not good, what we should be reading, what we should be thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, I haven't seen the list, but I bet some of the stuff on the list is not very fucking good.
Yeah.
But
But I would be fine with more schools doing it. I would say, I think problems that would arise from it, like I said already, would be if people think, oh, Harvard just, doesn't like the people running these websites, or they think they're stupid. So it's just Harvard's opinion.
Yeah.
Because there's no objective way to classify something
Yeah.
as a fake news
Yeah.
website. So that's pretty difficult, but ultimately I would say I'm okay.
Yeah, you're okay.